On this episode of The Third Wheel at Night, we'll be covering the latter half of 10 things women do that basically repel men. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to another episode of The Third Wheel Podcast.
At night.
I'm Caleb.
I'm Darcy.
Why are these so loud?
What do you mean?
The mics seem really loud today.
Is it just this is turned up?
That's better. Okay, now turn mine back up because I can't hear myself. Perfect. Guys, we have a great show for you today. As per usual, I am stepping down from my role as head of this podcast for one more episode as Darcy leads and steers the conversation in a direction that none of us are prepared for or happy about. No, I'm just kidding. Darcy, take it away. Today, the show is all about you and what you want to talk about.
All right. So last week, we covered the first 5 things of the 10 things women do that basically repel men.
Repel. Ooh,
oh, yeah.
Sick.
With number 1 being bragging or arrogant, being negative. You don't get him, being critical or putting him down. And you're fixated on labels or relationship status.
For you, that was the last one. I remember that very specifically.
Yeah.
Even though I totally talked it up into way higher of a tier. But, that's fine. All right. Well,
anyways,
we got 5 more, do we not?
We do. All right. So we got number 6 here as, wow, this I feel like this should have been a lot higher on the list. Being manipulative.
Being manipulative.
A guy can sense when he's being manipulated and he'll resent it. Can he? Anyways, I'll finish the description. Don't do That was a sidetrack. That wasn't written down.
I thought that was written down. You fooled me.
No, that was a sidetrack. Don't do things to intentionally provoke him and get a certain reaction or a response from him. This is just immature. Healthy relationships are built on open, honest communication. I think a little bit of manipulation is good in a relationship. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a hot take. Well, actually, we addressed that in one of our main show episodes where we talk about, is any manipulation good? And you said no.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I just want to see if you just nod your head and agree with me and be like, yeah,
Yeah, so she's trying to see that if I tune her out, like she tunes me out. But alas, you can't get rid of me that easily. Well,
I just like the wide eyes, like, what the?
I'm trying to think, because I can't remember what I said on that episode of any type of manipulation is good, in my opinion. I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like, you said no, and I see where you're coming from, but, like, don't you think on a small scale there's a way to get a guy or girl to get you to do what they want within reason? That's not a toxic task you're trying to get them to perform. So you'd say, hey, I don't know, you dangle something in front of them as a reward. That's manipulation, I'd say,
I don't think so. That's just called a reward.
Whatever. Anytime I'm doing something I don't want to do, it's manipulation. Is what I'm trying to say. I hope my girlfriend's taking notes. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm sorry. This says a guy can sense when he's being manipulated and he'll resent it. Can you tell?
It depends. And I have addressed this before on the main show.
Because I read that and I was like, no, the hell they can't.
When they come out swinging,
yeah,
they can.
Okay.
When they come at me from really high up, you can't see my arms right now, but I'm holding it up. Okay. All right.
It's still not that high up.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm a short man with short arms and short legs, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. Yes, I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
I wish they could have seen you actually do the teapot just now.
And I just did it, and it was fantastic.
It was the dip that really got it for me.
Let me give you an example, and you got plenty of examples, okay? But for me, an example of them coming out swinging, there was this one time where, and I have shared this story with you and probably on this channel, but this girl I had met online, we had met. She came out to a celebration of a big graduation with me and a bunch of guys, right? And we had a few drinks, and we were at my place, and she couldn't drive, so I put her down on my bed to go to bed, and I was just going to fall asleep next to her. She got very frisky, and she kept really pushing me to sleep with her, and I said no. And then she got up and was like, fine. This went back and forth quite a few times, right? I said no. She kept, trying to talk me into it. right? And she's also drunk, so she's actually being very aggressive. Well, she gets up to, she has enough, and she's like, fine, I'm just going to leave. You know, she's like, starts making her way toward the front door slowly. I say front door, door of my bedroom. She starts making her way very slow, waiting for me to be like, no, come back. Change, I'm sorry. Something a guy would do, right? Isn't that something a guy would do to get a girl to like start putting like some guilt on them to make them like?
As many times as I've tried, that never works. I think that's just a movie thing that people make up, because anytime I got really mad in argument and leave, guys were just like, huh.
Well, I told her, I was like, fine, go. I was like, get out.
I've never witnessed that to work. Unless it's like the most desperate of desperate men.
Right. And I was just like, fine, go. And then she's like, no, wait, I'm sorry. You're the best. You ask me how my day is. You're so great. Just like whatever. Right. And so that's like an example of like, just right out the gate, like, don't even try to be subtle with your manipulation. You're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
For some reason, whenever I turn someone down to sleep with them, they get really mad. And I know that's something girls go through, but it trips me out when it's a guy going through that. That's weird.
Well, I think it probably, especially for girls, they're not used to being told no. Like for girls, like they're viewed as like the gatekeepers of sex. They say whether sex happens or not. So if you're the one telling them no, they're like, what is going on here? Like, you don't get to tell me now, I don't know.
But guys do that too, though, where they're like, well, I paid for the whole dinner. I gave you a ride. They do all that sorts of stuff. Like, so I know guys do it to women. It was weird when they do it to me. And that wasn't the only time that's happened. That's the thing. It wasn't like just one isolated incident. It was a bunch. There's been a couple times, right? So,
like I said, girls aren't used to being told no on that.
Yes, and actually, that's leading to another point that I already made last episode and a while back as well. But so this same girl, she didn't like PDA, right? Public displays of affection. Fine, right? She doesn't want me to like make out with her in public. That's fine. That's perfectly reasonable. But she also had trouble with holding hands, and that was like a big deal for me. Like, we got to hold hands. So she was giving me crap about not sleeping with her. She's like, well, fine, I'm just going to hold off on pursuing things. We can talk, but like, I don't know, I'm going to slow down on everything else, right? So she's already pissing me off by saying, well, now I'm just not sure about you. I was like, okay, whatever, But then she's like, okay, I'll strike a deal with you. We can do no PDA if you're not going to sleep with me. No PDA. And I was like, no PDA. I was like, what the, so I can't hold your hand in public because I'm not sleeping with you. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not quite like threatening or coercing, not quite that level, but I felt like, she was like just withholding herself in order to get me to sleep with her. So I was like, you know what? I've already kind of had enough of this. So I just told her no. And then she started blowing up my phone, call me. She's calling me and I'm not answering. I was like, I need a break from this. And then when I finally answered, I calmed down. I answered, and she was like, "You're such a terrible person. You're so judgmental. Blah blah. You're judging me for." And it's just like, ugh, like.
How long did this person continue to contact you after that?
That was within the span of 2 weeks. So after that last call where she was talking down to me, that was it. That was it. After that,
nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy. So yeah, but I don't know. That's just one example. Online dating hasn't really worked out, like it's such a bad, it hasn't really worked out for me in that regard. Cause like, online dating, whenever you get to a certain point when it's like, okay, she's expecting me to sleep with her, then things just fall apart. I say no. And then they trip out on me, and then they just kind of leave. So I don't know.
For me with like manipulation. So back when I was with my first boyfriend,
okay,
I had to learn how to manipulate because like if I needed absolutely anything, that's how I had to do it to get my way. And he just kind of like forced me to be that way, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so because I did that for so long, it just became like a natural part of my habit to do that. And so after him, like I was extremely manipulative and everything like that. And I'll tell you, guys are dumb as hell. At least from what I've experienced.
It's true, we are.
With manipulation. Like never, ever caught on, or at least never called me out, and at least never got tired enough of it to leave. You know what I mean? Like Paul was really the first one to be like, that's manipulative. And I was like, oh, I didn't mean to be.
You're right.
Yeah. And like, I didn't want to be, but like
Yeah.
I said, I just was in a situation where I was almost forced to be that way for so long that I didn't even realize I was manipulating myself.
But it was subtle, right? Were you doing it subtly, or do you think you were coming on really strong?
It depended on the thing.
Yeah, in the situation, I guess.
Right.
However big the task, the
Right,
harder,
yeah,
the harder
yeah,
the
yeah.
weapon you needed.
Yeah, pretty much.
This 9 mil ain't gonna work. We're pulling
Yeah.
out the 50 cal.
Yeah. But it's a lot of just like, I don't know, being overly dramatic, reacting too harshly to situations, crying over something, what have you.
It's very well chronicled on this show and the main show that I cannot say no to women. They're actually my weakness, right? So, except in the regard I told you before in the previous story. But you can manipulate me subtly. You could just be like, you can ask me to do something and then bat your eyes at me or say please, or, I don't know, like you can just pretend to be really sweet to me and I'll do whatever you want in a sense. I don't know. I can be very subtly manipulated, but the coming out swinging, man, it just doesn't work. I see right through it. And I have enough confidence where the harder you come down on me in that regard, where you try to make me feel guilty or you try to make it seem like there's a time limit, like, oh, I'm walking out the door unless you change your mind.
Right.
Like the harder you push, the more I'm like, well, fine, go. Like I have confidence enough to be like, you can't treat me like this, but some people don't, like you said. Definitely when I was in my younger 20s or like, I don't know, high school to 24, like I think I was a very easy person to manipulate. My first girlfriend had me thinking it was all my fault and I didn't do anything wrong. I went to a therapist and she was like, you did nothing wrong, right? In that whole relationship. And she wasn't saying I was perfect, but she was saying like the reason y'all broke up, you realize it had nothing to do with you, right? And I was like, oh, you're right. After some, a couple months of processing that, like, I wasn't the problem, not that I did everything perfect, but the fact that, she was totally crazy. So
do you see for being manipulative, do you see this as a instant repeller, a midterm, long term?
yes, that girl that came out swinging on me, I already put up the flag and was like, okay, this probably isn't going to work. I'd already pretty much made up my mind. But I'm a really nice guy and I'm pretty generous, so I let it go for like another week. But by that second time, she was trying to really push me. I was just like, I'm done with this. If you're that bad to where you cannot lose control for more than a couple weeks and you need that control back, then look, I'm not your guy. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
So do you think that someone that has a tendency to be really manipulative, do you think that's a fixable issue or not? Like, I mean, obviously anything and everything can be fixed, but do you see that being able to be fixed with having a sit-down conversation with them?
It wouldn't be resolved in one conversation, but if they're at least willing to work on it and you can see progress, then yes. And like you said, anything can be worked on, but you have to actually see someone trying to make an attempt to work on things. And vice versa. My girlfriend calls me out on stuff all the time, and not in a way to make me feel bad or to put me down, but to be like, hey, you're actually struggling with this. This is something you should work on. You've also done the same thing. You know what I mean? You've also called out stuff I'm doing wrong and challenged me to fix it, So you have to look at how the other person takes the news, how they respond to it. Are they actually taking what you said to heart? Do you see progress in that area? It's not going to happen overnight because, sometimes it takes time too. But yes, I think it can be worked on. I am willing to, if I can bring it up. That's probably something. No, that's okay. I was gonna say maybe that's something I didn't do to that girl. I didn't tell her she was doing that. I did tell her that, and she was just like, "No, I'm not being manipulative. You're being manipulative." She pulled the Uno reverse card on me, So like, yeah, for her it was like she's closing the door. Like, not only is she gonna manipulate me, but she's also not even willing to acknowledge it. And if she's not gonna acknowledge it, then freaking forget working on it.
Right.
So, so yeah, I am definitely willing to work on stuff, just like anything. Like I can't just let one problem someone has be a red flag and like shut the door on that person completely. You got to look at the person as a whole, because there's going to be good and there's going to be bad. So
how would you rate it on what we've been reading so far? Do you think this is one of the top ones, a mid one, or?
Yes, very top ones, but
Okay.
Instant opposite of a boner. Like it like, it makes it go in. All right. Like I don't like it. it insults me because you think, one, I'm an idiot, or two, I'm just gonna be wrapped around your finger. And you can do it subtly, but like even the subtle stuff will start to add up. If you start trying to isolate me, if you start trying to do all the abusive stuff or the really toxic stuff, I'm gonna notice. I might not notice it the first 2 or 3 times, but I'm gonna notice.
That's fair.
And then it says resentment. Like I wouldn't call it resentment, but I'd start talking. I'd be like, hey, look, I know what you're doing. You can't keep doing it. I'm not gonna keep putting up with it. So yes, I would say. I don't remember what number 1 was for me. I'd have to go back and listen to that episode, but it's up there. If we're just going by the 5 this week, right now we're at number 1.
So, question.
Yes.
So, girls generally as a whole take a lot longer to move on from a relationship than a guy does, as in to like actually break up.
Not in my experience.
Oh.
Unless you want to unpack that, I got you. We got 45 minutes.
But like, at least from what I've heard as like a stereotypical woman, man, that kind of thing, the guy is quicker to leave, but also has like a higher chance of coming back. Whereas in girls take longer to leave, but then once they're done, they're like gone.
I probably am not the best example on that because, like I said, for me, it's been flipped. The 2 times I've been in love before who I'm with now, they left like at the drop of a hat. Like they were gone, and they haven't reached out. And
that's what I just described. They were gone, didn't come back.
But it didn't take long.
Oh, gotcha.
Like it was just like they were done. And I was the one who tried to reach out a couple of times. To the first one, at least, I showed her the progress I was making in the areas she told me to fix. Right. And she said, "No, I'm good. I'm not getting back with you." And then that following week, she sat across from me and my old roommate, and she was flirting with him right in front of me. Like I was like, "What the like? We just broke up." And I was like,
that's so rude.
That wasn't cool, right? So that was her. Then the second one, she texted me that I'm not ready for a relationship. I got in over my head. And then the very next day, she's texting another guy, and she's telling him the same stuff she's telling me.
Oh gosh.
Telling them that he's the one, like all that stuff. So I'm not the right guy to ask that question to, because I've had it totally flipped.
Well, we'll go ahead and move on to number 7.
Sorry, guys.
So number 7 is you're unhappy. The sexiest woman to a guy is a happy woman. If you hate your life, your friends, yourself, he'll be repelled. Guys like to keep their lives easy and drama-free.
Guys, if you're dating a woman, there's going to be drama.
Yeah.
There's an understanding when guys go into a relationship that it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. The women have to accept that, right? Because they have to challenge themselves to move past the Disney princess and Disney prince relationship, right? They're the ones who have to shatter that fantasy on their own. But guys on their end as well, they got to come in knowing like their girl's not going to be 100% drama free,
right?
100% like everything's sunshine and rainbows.
I even find myself to be a pretty like drama free person. I stay out of that. Now I enjoy hearing about drama. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nosy.
Oh, I'm very gossip driven.
Right. But I'm opposite. I don't gossip like at all,
Right.
but I'll listen to all of it. I'm so bad. I'm horrible with it.
Fair.
And I mostly don't tell other people, not because I'm a good person, but because I want them to keep telling me all this stuff. And
Yeah.
if they find out I'm the one talking about it, they're not going to tell me anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not a good person when it comes to that.
Side note, if I'm the biggest gossiper, but nobody ever traces it back to me. That's a total side note, irrelevant to this conversation. But
Have you ever done that with our conversations?
no,
Oh, okay.
No.
I didn't think so.
no, I actually care about what you think about me. Everyone else, no. So, but I don't know. Everyone I gossip to knows not to let it get back to me. It's weird. I have this reputation as being a dead end when it comes to gossip, but I'm really not, guys. I tell everybody and their mama. Anyway, he's not happy.
Yeah. Anyways,
You're not happy.
Drama free. Yeah. So I would say I have minimal drama
Mm-hmm.
for a woman, and even then, like I still have my moments where I'm being dramatic or
Right.
over emotional,
Yeah.
or just what have you.
Yeah.
Like it comes with it's the terms of the territory.
And look, I'm a very confident guy, but sometimes I come with drama. Like Darcy knows that. My current girlfriend hasn't seen that yet, but it's gonna come. I'm not a perfect guy. I have to fight through a lot of the bad thoughts because I get them a lot more often than I let on. Thoughts of not being confident in who I am. Thoughts of like, man, nobody really wants to be my friend. They're not true. But I used to take that out on everybody else. So even I come with drama, and I'm like one of the coolest guys in existence.
Right.
So
my thing is like, whenever it says you're unhappy, it doesn't really go very deep into that other than to say guys like happy women.
right.
What's like, I'm curious to know what their definition and like their parameters around happy are.
So I brought up last episode a coworker who just complains every time you try to be happy, who tries to drag you down to their crappy mood that they're in. That's an example.
Okay.
I think people that are just a bummer no matter what, I think though that's a definition of not being happy. There are some people where they let depression rule their life, where like I understand we have bouts. I have bouts with depression. I know you have had them. Sometimes still do, same as me. Sometimes I still do as well. But some people, a buddy of mine, a real close friend of mine, I don't see him that much anymore, but we're still close. His ex-wife, she had depression so bad where she wouldn't get out of bed for months and months on end. And physically, there's nothing wrong with her. It's like she's not like a vegetable where he's like, okay, I have to take care of her. She actually can't take care of herself. She chose to be sad all the time to make him feel guilty for how sad she was. To you know what I mean? Now that's a very, very extreme example.
Yeah.
Very extreme. But if you won't take the effort to take care of yourself, and suddenly you're now a burden to everyone else around you. And not that you can't have vulnerable moments and people step in to help build you back up. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actively choosing to be a burden on everybody else.
Okay.
That's where it becomes a problem.
See that?
Yes.
Because I was sitting here and I'm like, well, like, I don't know. Your definition makes sense, but I don't know.
So they're giving you the fun clickbaity version of it. Be
Yeah,
happy. You know what I
right.
mean? But like, and like last episode, you said like relationship status. And I was like, well, they're talking about commitment. And you're like, no, they're talking about being friends on Facebook. You know what I mean? I'm taking that as deep as it can go. Cause like sometimes we have deep discussions on this show.
Yeah.
So I'm taking that as like, be happy. Yeah. Be happy, like smile, but also like, again, we have our moments of weakness, but like when you're a burden on everybody around you, nobody likes to be around you because you're miserable and you choose to be miserable, and it brings down the mood wherever you go. Like that's what I'm getting out of it.
Because, like, I don't know. I guess whenever I initially read it, I viewed it as, like, the, 40-year-old man that still lives in his mom's basement. And his girlfriend has, like, 3 kids that she takes care of and, like, works 2 jobs. And he's like, she's just unhappy all the time. Like,
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's just, like, what I imagine, like, the dude writing this list being
Yeah.
like, unhappy women.
Right.
They suck.
Yeah. There are people that do that too.
Yeah.
And you're
I'm
right.
like, no freaking wonder
Yeah.
she's unhappy.
Yeah, 'cause
Like, you hear the term happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you should, like, put in a little bit and you'll be a
Yeah,
little better.
just a little bit. I'd
Yeah.
love to come home and give my wife a break from the kids for a bit. That'd be a joy of mine because they're my kids. Dang it.
Yeah.
She carried them, but like, I don't know. They're my kids too. So I don't know. That'd be fun. I'd enjoy that. I'd enjoy being a dad. Okay. But yeah, I take that a little bit deeper. I mean, there's a lot more shallower of a, he legit just won't get up and make it, and provide an environment where his wife can flourish and be happy. But there are people that are in those environments that still actively choose not to be happy. And at that point, it's a choice.
That's fair.
So anyway,
Yeah.
anything else you want to add to that?
No.
You have any personal examples?
I mean, going back to that one girl that lived with us,
Okay.
we obviously weren't in a relationship.
Shout
I
out
mean,
to
we were in a
episode 10.
friendship, but,
That's fine too. That's a good example.
right. Like, it didn't matter what we did. Like, nothing was good enough. And she was just unhappy with everything. And at the end of the day, I was the selfish person, the person that gave up my space, the beginning of my marriage, because like I don't know, she was really time consuming.
Yeah.
And like at the time it was fine because I was pouring into something like bigger than that.
Yeah.
And then for her to turn around and be like, F you made me feel like a monster. And I'm
Right.
just like, oh, like, womp womp.
Yeah.
Dude.
For real.
Like,
Because at a certain point, you stop feeling sorry for them. Because they're just doing that to themselves. They could
Right.
they're actively choosing to make bad decisions.
yeah. And I get being in a place where like you want to change, but you don't know how, or you keep going back to the same lifestyle or what have you. That wasn't the part that made me mad. The part that made me mad was she was pissed at me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
what else would you have want me to done?
It's
dude?
a form of projecting where their life isn't going well and it's not their fault.
Yeah.
It's everyone else's fault.
Oh, yeah.
And that I think that feeds in that topic perfectly. Like, be happy, like, or whatever.
Right.
You're not happy. Like, legit, you're not happy.
Be happy, be
And
grateful, be thankful, be what have you.
I've been happier in my life on so much less.
Yeah.
We're about to hit 100 subs, and I'm super psyched about it. And 5 years ago, I had a job I hated. I was single. I had only a handful of friends, and I was happy. You know what I mean? And now I have more than that. I have everything I could ever want, and I'm still happy. So, and there are people that have more than I do that are unhappy, and there are people that have less than I do that are unhappy. But there are people that are happy in those situations. It's a mindset. You got to choose. So,
Yeah.
Yep, that's how I read that little bit in the article.
So how would you rate that on repel levels?
Repel,
At what point would that push you away?
very much so well into the relationship.
Okay.
Because people can fake being happy for quite a minute. Like, the honeymoon phase really tricks people into thinking that this is going to be this way forever.
So kind of like towards the end or like the middle to end range?
I'd say 3 months into a relationship, they're going to start. If they're going to be depressed all the time, you're going to start seeing it. Really, 2 months in, but by 3 months, you're going to get a good idea of like, okay, this is how our relationship's going to be forever. You know, not that there aren't highs and lows, and so many other things can happen, but at 3 months, you get a very good sense of who someone is as a person. People that go from boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend, or vice versa, girlfriend to girlfriend to girlfriend, there's a reason, because they're really cool the first month, and then by that 3 month mark, they're unbearable to be around, and then they break up.
So do you see this being something that you could have a conversation with them about to change, or do you think this is something they'd fully have to kind of get on their own?
They have to get it on their own. You can't resolve that with a conversation. Some people are just going to die alone, and that's a choice that they've made. And they don't think they've made that decision, but that's a decision they've made. They're going to find faults, flaws in the other person while choosing to ignore their own issues. No conversation unless you're legit Jesus and you know how to debate people like he did the Pharisees. Like, it's not going to happen. So, no. Can't
Where
be
would
yourself.
you rate it on the list of things?
That's higher up there, but that's not for me. It wouldn't repel me. It wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say it would scare me away from a woman, because that's not something that you see right away.
So you're thinking that's like number 5, 6, 7?
It's a big
something like
deal,
that?
but I'm not going to notice it till well into the relationship. So I don't know. I guess lower on that. In the context of like what repels guys away from women, I'd put it on the lower end. It is a big deal, though. You're just not going to see it right away, typically. Some girls come out swinging, but, hey, depends on the person.
So number 8 right here is you're unpleasant to be around. If a guy feels like hanging out with you is something he's going to have to deal with as opposed to something he enjoys, he won't want to do it anymore. A lot of women make the mistake of turning their relationship into a dumping ground where they can unload all their issues. While it's fine to vent to your guy on occasion, if you're constantly going to him to complain about everything in your life, then being with you will become a burden.
Some guys that I know, just hanging out with their girlfriend is taxing on my soul. And it's like, I can't imagine what he's doing every day.
Where would you... Okay, so it does go into like, you complain about absolutely everything and burden him with everything. Would you say anything else goes under the unpleasant to be around thing? Like, I'm not talking about like specific itty bitty like things, but any big things that pop up to you?
If they're gonna have a crappy attitude at everything, then
Yeah.
like why would you even bother telling them about your day? Why even bother taking them anywhere?
Right.
If they're just not going to be happy anywhere they go. And I'm talking like nagging, or they're complaining about somebody, the service, they're complaining about their friend, they're complaining about their boss, and that's all they do. And in my experience, they don't even let you talk. It's just them nagging, will not shut up.
The first thing that pops in my head is not having a sense of humor.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily need to be funny yourself.
Sure.
I get that just not everybody has the, I don't know, humor gene, the trauma behind them to make them funny,
That's
I
right.
guess.
You're darn right. Hashtag
but
trauma.
if you can't sit there and laugh at somebody's joke,
Right.
you know what I mean? Because, like, I feel like, at least for a man, that would be really satisfying to make your woman laugh all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just sitting there and she's just like, okay.
Or they'll just be like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
Yeah.
You shouldn't joke about that.
Yeah.
You know, and like, now depending on what it is. Okay.
Right.
Like if I'm really making an off color joke and it's like, I'm not just offending her, but the whole table.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Sure.
That's a little different.
But
to have zero humor.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That to me would definitely fall
Yeah.
under the unpleasant to be around thing.
And I mean, I've been around girls that just want to just tell you, just go out of their way to tell you, you're not funny. You're not cute when you do that.
Yeah.
Like they go out of their way to make you feel like crap.
Like
You know?
at least pity laugh.
Yeah.
You know? At least pity laugh.
very
I
Yeah.
yeah.
We've both been around those types of people,
Yeah.
you know? And does it wind us up when we think about it?
I think you've seen
Absolutely.
me pity laugh
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple times.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
Everybody knows what my pity laugh sounds like except the person I'm giving a pity laugh for.
Yeah. Have you been around you dated someone where they felt like a chore?
Yeah.
I know a couple of the guys you brought up in that one episode where we had ketchup and mustard Doritos. That was a good one. Yeah, your favorite. But I don't know.
That was foul.
Don't get me wrong. At a certain point in a relationship, sometimes it can feel like a chore because you want to go hang out with your friends, but they're like, hey, you promised we'd watch this show tonight. Sure. I understand we're not always at our A game, right? But there have been people where it's like, I just don't even want to be near you because I just know it's going to suck.
Yeah.
You know?
The one guy I dated, the one that threatened to
Erase himself. Self-delete.
Control Alt Delete his life. Yeah. That one guy. He was so draining.
Yeah.
He was so needy for everything, needed constant reassurance, constant attention, constant words of affirmation, like constant
Yeah.
everything. And then everything I did, he had a problem with. And it was like, he didn't like that I drank. And I was like, well, I drink. And even at the time, I wasn't drinking like crazy either.
Yeah.
I had just turned 21. So like I was drinking a normal amount. Plus, like with me being 21, it was extra normal because,
Yeah.
like, it really wasn't anything crazy at that time.
But did he, question, did he drink?
No.
Okay.
But
Those
I was
people I
just
find
like,
are
really,
hypocrites.
dude? Yeah. And then I remembered one time I wanted to quit smoking and I had like verbalized that. And I was like, man, I really want to quit, but I don't know. And I went outside to light a cigarette and he stomped outside and he snapped my cigarette in half. And I was just like, go home.
Yeah.
Go home. I'm not dealing with you.
Right.
You are way too overbearing. Like, I can't be around you.
Well, heck, I mean, sometimes with someone we know now where it's like anytime they come outside to talk with us, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just like then they just want to talk. And
Right.
it's like, and look, I'm a good listener. I am. And I can empathize with people. That's fine. But when it's just like all about them now, and it's
Yeah.
like, man, like we were having fun, 5 seconds
Right.
ago. So I don't know.
Or if every conversation has to be a serious conversation.
Yeah. Which those are fine too. But also, I like it when it's not sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Doesn't always have to be.
Audience, you know what we're talking about. Okay. Draining people. Give us in the comments who in your life is draining.
Tag them.
Yeah. Tag them right now at them. Okay.
That would be so bad.
I know, 'cause-
Imagine if a bunch of people just started tagging everyone they can't stand.
I'm about to say if half of them are going to tag me.
And then they'd have to like literally listen to like half of this episode.
Hey, that whatever jabs the views up, man. I ain't worried about it.
Being unpleasant.
I thought you said that one.
Yeah. Where does that is that instant, mid, or last straw repeller?
I mean,
I feel like that's instant.
it is
to me.
instant.
Yeah.
But does it always come out early on?
I have a hard time imagining that if that's going to be something that repels you from a relationship, that you could put up with that for the first month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But do they always show their true colors that first month? I've been with people where they show that they show that crap an hour in to me meeting them.
Why did you grip the mic like that to say it?
Because, and I swear to God, 2 hours into us having met, I was ready to jump off a building and gently float down to my demise.
Your demise.
Yeah, I'm trying to bounce around YouTube's
Your
algorithm.
Control Alt Delete.
Yeah. Okay. Gently float to my Control Alt Deletion. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It is definitely high up there, but I don't know if you can tell right away. But when you find out,
If you could, that would be an instant
100%. So that's probably be number one.
Or like,
If I can't even, if you're toxic but we're laughing together, there's hope. You know what I mean? If you're toxic in the other areas where we have a ton of fun together, there's hope. All right. I'll work with you on anything else. But if you're no fun and you're not pleasant to be around, you're out of here, girl. There's plenty other fish in the sea. I don't care how hot you are, how many tattoos you got. It ain't going to be with me. Sorry.
that's funny.
Hit the curb. No problem.
So, where would you say this falls on the ratings list? Like top?
Yeah, it would be. Once I figure out you're unpleasant to be around, you're done.
So, do you think since we've been reading through these, you would probably say that's number one for you so far?
I'd have to remind myself what the other five were, but yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Because, like I said, once I figure out you're unpleasant, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a joyful person to be around. I cannot deal with toxic unpleasantness. I can't. That is an essential. If that's a love language for me that fits under quality time, that's like high up on my list. I need it. So,
All right.
if any time around you is miserable,
Yeah.
I don't want it.
That I'm surprised that's so far down on this list.
Well,
I feel like they didn't put them in order.
I was
There's
gonna
no
say,
way they did.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's no way.
And they did. They're idiots.
Yeah, well, it is a bunch of guys. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
This was
All
written
right.
by sexists.
What was that?
I was trying to say sexists, like plural. Anyway, continue. This is a dark episode. I'm the main character. If I can't lighten up the tone of this,
Oh, it's not even dark.
I know the light's on.
You're so dumb.
No,
Nothing can be darker than my 1000th day recording where I talk about my trauma.
that's true. I was laughing.
Same.
All right, you're right.
All right.
Continue.
So, number 9, being cruel / mean to others.
Guys, I told you this is a red flag. Watch how they treat other people. Read the description, please.
In movies, girls like Regina George. Do you know who Regina George is?
No.
Mean Girls.
Oh, what? How would I? I
You
thought
know
a
the
guy
movie
wrote
Mean-
that. Yeah, I thought a guy wrote this. How would he know that?
Paul's watched Mean Girls. He
With
loves
you,
that
though,
movie.
right?
No.
No.
He said it's like one of his favorite movies. We've never watched it together, but he loves that movie.
Okay. Describe this character to me.
Regina George is just like the most popular girl in school, and she's just a mean girl and gets laughs at making everybody else miserable and putting them down and all that. And at the end, she gets ran over by a bus.
Oh God. Oh no. She got Control Alt deleted by a bus.
So, girls like Regina George are capable of snagging the hottest guy around. In real life, there is nothing sexy about a mean girl. In fact, it's incredibly off-putting. Mean people are generally unhappy people. As they say, misery loves company. Being mean also reeks of insecurity and emotional issues, 2 things that no man wants to deal with.
It's true that they don't want to deal with it. the deeper stuff, but we have to, guys. You have to understand that with a woman, any woman, there's a lot to unpack. Okay, it's just something you're gonna have to get used to. If you're serious about being with someone seriously, get that in your head now. They're gonna have some baggage that you have to unpack. Yeah, okay. I told you guys this already. Watch how they treat other people. We've already kind of covered it. We're getting to the last couple, and it's like some of these are not repetitive, but we already covered these under the other topics. But if they treat everyone else like crap, okay, like it's only a matter of time before they work their way to you.
What about people that just, do you think there's actual people out there that genuinely could be sweet and loving and kind to you, but mean to everybody else?
Not for long. Like I said, because if they're going to treat everyone in their vicinity like garbage, you're in their vicinity. In fact, you're closer than all those people. So if they're going to talk that way about strangers or close friends, you being the boyfriend, you having the relationship status, okay, that's not going to make it any better.
So
it's not a shield.
I completely understand that. I only saw like an hour and a half of this couple's relationship. Okay. So I'm completely understanding that some things may happen at home that I didn't witness.
Probably worse at home, whatever you're about to tell me.
So this couple comes in and they're super loving. They're holding hands. They're real sweet, everything like that. And earlier in the day, I took this phone call. This lady was just being like rude and abrasive and stuff like that. And so this couple comes in and they're like, yeah, we have this reservation for da-da-da. And I was like, ooh, that was the person I was on the phone with, was this lady. And I was like, well, they seem real sweet right here. So, like, it's fine. And they were an older couple, too. So I get just because they're an older couple doesn't mean they've been together for 50 years either.
Sure.
But
you can make a reasonable assumption.
Right. And so they're sitting down and everything like that. And I guess she is like allergic to gluten or whatever. And as she's telling me this, I'm like, okay, then I'll go in the back, make sure they don't bring out any bread. I'll bring you some vegetables instead. All of it, making all these accommodations. And before I have time to go to the back, the busser brings the basket of bread. And so I was about to grab it and be like, no, like no bread. And the lady like grabs the basket and throws the basket of bread at me and just starts like degrading me and screaming at me and yelling and da-da-da. And I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, this lady's insane.
Yeah.
But her and her man, real sweet to each other. So I don't know. Like I said, I only saw their relationship for like an hour and a half. But
So I have an experience with that as well. So
Okay.
I used to work in a hotel. I worked the night shift. In the morning is when I actually had work to do when people are checking out.
when
And
did
then
you work at a hotel?
College, 18 to 20 years old.
Which hotel?
Sam Houston State University Hotel. My old college had a hotel for visiting parents.
Oh,
Or-
wow.
or-
That's insane.
Yeah. Actually, I stay there quite often whenever I go up there, if I can, unless my buddy insists I stay at his place, which I also love doing. But I love visiting that hotel again. That's the one job I almost got
Were you
fired
like
from.
a concierge?
I know. Sorry. That's probably going to go on the soundboard like that.
I was just thinking earlier, those laugh tracks that they play in like the Disney TV shows. We should get one of those laugh tracks
That'd be
for
cool.
on here.
That, or I was thinking like the audience gasping,
Yeah.
whenever I make a controversial statement.
Or whenever somebody hot walks on and they're like, woo!
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say sometimes I make controversial statements like I used to date this girl and then I used to date someone toxic. It was probably your fault. No.
I'm so sorry to bring this so far off track. Hotel. Cruel to others, but not to their significant other.
This lady had cursed out my manager right before bed. So my manager was there late. He usually just does 8 to 5, right? He was also he wasn't a jerk to customers, but he was a jerk to me. So therefore, he's on my naughty list. If I was Santa, he'd
Your
never get a
naughty
present.
list.
Yeah, he would never get a present from me if I was Santa. Okay, but she had just got done complaining to him, so he left for the night. She had called me several times to complain about something. Now, nothing very specific. She was mad 'cause her husband was handicapped, and they had no more handicapped like friendly rooms. So he had to use a normal shower. He had to use a normal whatever they need. He didn't have access to. So I can understand them being upset about that. But she was pulling the Karen card where she wants the room to be free. She wants everything to be free. Like, but she was making it sound like we had to pay her, right? So they're checking out in the morning. Sun's coming up. And as they're trying to get off the elevator, this guy's fat. He's not handicapped because he has a real medical condition. He ate so much his whole life that like he's just gigantic, and he's on this big scooter, and his scooter is so weird and janky that he can't get it off the elevator door. So he keeps backing into the wall and backing into the side of the door to where he can't get out. And he's like, oh, honey, I can't get out.
Oh, gosh.
Right. And then she gives me a look, and she's like, are you going to come over here and help us? And I was like, yes, ma'am. Like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
Like, I can't lift your 500-pound husband. You know what I mean?
Spit on the edges.
Right.
Lube him up.
Exactly. Like, so he finally, between the door and the back of the elevator to where he finally scoots out to where he can get out of the dang elevator. So she comes up to me and she's like, tell your manager, finger in my face, that I've never been at any hotel that treats us like this. This is the worst service that, we could have ever come across, and like, I'm very disappointed. I've never in all my years of being fat could have ever, been so unaccommodated, just leveling these heavy accusations at me.
I love that you've had so many experiences with people telling you you're the worst human in all
I know.
of existence.
It is ridiculous.
And you're just like, me.
Yeah, exactly. Me? Like, okay, whatever. Yeah, right. And that's not my only hotel story. So, sidebar. There was one time I was reading a comic book. I finally got into comic books, and then this guy with the Santa outfit came in, like in December when it was like dead. Nobody was there. Who's going to come to my tiny college town for Christmas, right? Nobody. All the students had left. But this guy came in with the full-on Santa outfit, and then he came in with a guy who was dressed as an elf. They got on the elevator and they went up. Okay, they came back down with one of our couches. All right, and they carried it out. And keep in mind, this was like at 2 a.m. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they were robbing the place. So he's like carrying out the couch, and then I just like put my comic down to look at him. And he gives me makes eye contact with me. And he goes, ho ho ho, and he does like not a thumbs up, but what's this symbol called?
Like an okay?
Yeah, he does the okay, like index finger thumb touching with the three fingers up. He goes ho ho ho, and he winks at me, and then he carries the couch out. And I was like, just sitting there with the blank face, and I just went back to read my comic book. It was like I just didn't know what just happened, and I was only 18, so I wasn't about to fight no Santa or an elf, and just been about my business. So
if somebody came into my house dressed like Santa and like played the act up, and they wanted to take something,
the TV.
Yeah, honestly, you've worked for it. You've obviously worked harder for this TV than I have.
He looked jolly. Like, he came in like he owned the place. Like, this was Santa's workshop, and he was taking the couch to the nice kid.
Okay, back from the sidebar, though.
Yeah, sorry.
Because I feel like we're starting to press it on time because we still have another one.
Oh, sorry.
But did that couple seem happy together?
Yeah, so he was whining. She was mean. But she was like mean where she was defending him. For some reason, in her eyes, he was helpless, and I was supposed to go over there and help him. So would you be able to deal with having a significant other where you guys love each other a lot, you're sweet to each other, but anytime you go out, they have a problem with the service and yell at people? No. I do not think people should be treated that way. Yeah. Can you complain when things aren't going well? Yes. If someone's rude to you, can you defend yourself? Can you talk to the manager? Yes. But if who I was with was judgmental all the time, critical of everybody, yelling at people, I would tell her to chill the F out. And you need to chill. Especially with my serving background, if I dated somebody and they talked down to a server, I'd be like, I'd get up and walk out. Sure. I'd be like, I'm done. I'd make sure I hand her some cash on the way out, let her know she did a great job. But like, see, that's women sticking together, because you didn't even say if it was a guy. All right, fine. Whatever. Women stick together. That's fine. Okay. But the women are a majority of servers. Uh-huh. So I just think there's like a 70% chance it's a woman that's serving us. Sure. I don't know where you got that statistic, but cool. Guys, find the real statistic and give Darcy a real lesson here in statistics.
I'm about to Google it. I'm about to Google it.
All right. So anyway, I cannot stand if my woman, because I'm such a nice guy, I'd be so embarrassed if she's yelling at people, talking down to them, making them feel stupid. That'd be embarrassing for me. So
No way. I just guessed that on point.
Oh, really? 70%?
Yeah.
Nice.
69.9% women and 30.1% men.
All right. I stand corrected.
Dude, there ain't no way.
Leave a comment. Tell me how stupid I am.
Dude, I just pulled that percentage out of my butt.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure you were right. I was just giving you credit.
Like, I thought it was going to be like 53. Like, you know, I thought it was going to have to be like, oh, I'm wrong. It's pretty half and half. But like,
No.
Dang, I was on point on that one.
No,
Nice.
good job. Well, you know, women are better.
I'm glad
at
we
that.
have it on the record that I'm always right.
Oh, hold on now. Google that statistic.
100%.
Yeah. Oh.
Just came back.
Anyway, so I don't know. I couldn't put up with it, and it sounds like you can't either.
Yeah, no.
So, all right.
No, not at all.
There's one more. Where would I rank that? That's mid.
Mid.
You can work.
Did
you
we
can-
talk about if this was instant or?
I was gonna say it's mid.
Oh, mid. Okay.
It's
I
mid.
thought you meant on the list of.
Well, yeah,
okay.
on the scale, yes, mid. Instant repellent. No, I think that's something you can work on. Even if it's even if she can't switch it to giving people compliments all the time, she can at least stop talking. You know what I mean?
This would be a instant repel for me, and pretty high on my list.
Fair.
I'm very, very kind to people
Yeah.
and sweet and generous. Especially having so many experiences with customer service and stuff like that. If I had someone that wasn't, even if they're just average and they were just like, I don't know, like one of the first things I saw Paul do was tip how much I would have tipped. And I was like, nice. This is a good guy. You know what I mean?
It's different because a guy's supposed to lead a household, and if you know right out the gate he doesn't respect people, he's not going to lead you to respect others. That I can see why for a woman that would be an instant turn off. For a guy, most of the time women who do that, they do it behind someone's back. They don't do it to that person's face. Not all the time, obviously, in the cases we brought up earlier.
Right.
But most of the time, it's the guy who's supposed to step in and make the complaint for the woman. Okay? So, as a guy, it's something that can be worked on, I think. So,
I don't know why does it sound so much different over here? I thought it had a pretty, like,
because the mic's
surround.
on the front end and you're speaking to the back end of it.
I wasn't speaking to the back end.
That's literally the back of it.
Okay. That was not, but you know what? I'll post a picture on like my Instagram or something, me going like this, and then people can judge whether it's the back of the mic or not. Anyways,
I can cut up my Santa
10.
story. That'll do it.
you're combative. Oh. It's fine to have opinions and assert yourself as long as you can also see things from the other person's perspective and don't need to be right just for the sake of being right. A lot of women go into relationships seeing their guy as an adversary instead of a partner. The need to fight with him can have a variety of root causes, and your best bet is to identify it and find out what you're really fighting for. Dang. So not only did they describe what it was, they also gave their own bit of advice on this.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like any of those topics we brought up this whole time can turn combative. So if it's going to turn into an argument, as a guy, if I just bring up something that bugs me and it's going to turn into a fight, why would I even bother?
Yeah.
We had a friend, and you know who I'm talking about, who you couldn't even come at him with like, hey, can we talk about this? Because they just get so combative.
Yeah.
And you start to resent them because you can't speak your mind. But for this individual, it built up to where we basically told them we don't want to be around them anymore. You know? Yeah. When they get to a point where you feel like you can't even talk to them about something because you know they're just, one, not going to take it well, and two, to start fighting you on it. Yeah, that's a big turnoff. That's a turnoff in a friendship, in a relationship, and all of it. You know, I've experienced people like that in both sides of the spectrum, friends and people I've been pursued by or I'm pursuing.
So it's complicated because I don't know.
It is?
I know what I'm about to say is complicated. like everything else. I'm just
You're
complicated.
so mysterious.
Nobody understands me.
That's right. Lightning cracks.
But I don't know. Like, I'm definitely not combative in any way. I've never had this feeling of like it can't get worked out or I'm right, even if I know I'm wrong or not listening. Now, I have times where in the moment, if I'm heated, I don't want to hear it. And it's like, let me complain for a second. I'll cool down for 5 minutes and then we can talk about it.
Sure.
So, like, maybe in the moment I might be a little combative, but as far as like as a whole, I'm not.
I would say everybody's like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That everyone's in the moment, especially when it's fresh. Like,
Right.
they're going to be heated, combative,
Right.
whatever, no matter what.
And I get that, like, sometimes I can be a little argumentative or hard-headed. I do have a hard time apologizing.
Really?
I do.
I don't believe you
Why?
because you don't have that problem. I see you apologize all the time.
But, like, from, like, a serious argument
Well,
where
you
I
and
was, like, really wrong.
You and I haven't had any serious
That's what I'm
arguments.
saying. And, like, I was even a little bit of a douchebag to you, and I never was like, hey, sorry for, whatever. I just kind of, like, laughed it off and was like, tee-hee, you're being dumb, but it's fine. And you're like, tee-hee, yeah. But, like, I never went back to you and said, like, hey, I'm apologizing for being a little bit of a
Holy
douche.
crap, you're right. You're a bad friend. This whole time, it's all snapping. It's all clicking into place.
Yeah, I
Well,
saw your
guys-
eyes slowly widening.
Yeah, this show's canceled.
Yeah.
Darcy's a crappy co-host / friend.
I'm really bad with apologizing.
I don't know. Because that wasn't even big, like, apology level.
Yeah, that's true.
And, like, look,
I'll do it, but I'm really
Yeah.
awkward, too.
sometimes the words "I'm sorry" are just hard to say.
Yeah.
But in that instance where you were like, well, maybe I wasn't being considerate, that was pretty much, I translated that to "I'm sorry."
Yeah, I say I'm sorry in a roundabout way.
And that, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it depends on the person. Some
Yeah.
people have demanded the hardest apology that they've ever received. You know what I mean? Some people are like, this better be the best apology ever. Right.
Right.
But I'm not like that. If I can see, like, you're trying to say you're sorry without being a jerk about it and saying, I state my regret,
Right.
like, I don't know. As long as I can tell there's genuine effort, I'll take it. But
Yeah.
some people, it's not like that. They want to hear the words.
I also like to explain why I reacted that way.
Sure.
Like,
That's fine too.
Yeah, but every now and then, sometimes you don't want to hear why. You just want to hear sorry. At least I'm like that with Paul sometimes, where I'm like, I don't really care why you did it. I care that you did it, and I just need you to apologize.
I've had that issue with one of my siblings where it was like, can we talk about it first? No, I want to hear I'm sorry first. Is that right or wrong? I don't know.
Right.
But I get it.
Yeah. And so, like, me explaining something alone sounds like an apology. So, like, one time Faith was being loud and she didn't put her dish up and the dishwasher was empty and I just cleaned the house that day. And this happens, like, fairly often.
Yeah.
So I was just so pissed about it. So I went back there and I didn't yell, I didn't scream at her, but you could tell I was being like, dude, put your dish in the dishwasher. Like, I'm tired of it. I came back around later and I was like, hey, I was a bit aggressive when I said that. What I said still stands. It is ridiculous that I'm having to do this. And you should be like knowing to do that. You're 16, but how I said it was wrong.
Sure.
And she was like, okay, like, that's fair.
And that's the thing. People just, even if they just say, well, I was frustrated. That's a shorter version of what you just explained to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd like it if we could talk about stuff before we say we're sorry, but some people want to hear that first and then talk about it. So I don't know.
Anyways,
Combative.
Yeah, combativeness.
Some people, you
Instant?
can't even reason with them.
Is that an instant thing? Probably not, right?
No, that's something that's going to show up later.
Yeah. More long term.
But not too much later. Like I said, if someone's manipulative, tell them no and see how they react. They cannot control themselves. I promise you. Same thing with combative. Disagree with them on something. And if they get combative with you, then red flag. Red, capital R, dark blood red flag. So it's high up there. But I feel like a lot of these kind of run together.
Yeah.
So go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're combative, you're not a joy to be around and nobody's happy. So you can lump some of these together. So I don't know. What do you think? You think we talked all those out pretty well?
Yeah, I think so. I think they went really well.
I actually think this one was like a lot deeper than the last episode.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I like it. But a lot of these were very personal to me, and I think
Yeah.
to you as well. But absolutely, some of these, like, man, I remember I lived this.
Yeah.
So,
Because other ones were just kind of like, eye rollers where it was like, oh, being arrogant. Ugh, eye roll.
Yeah.
Being negative. Ugh, eye roll.
Yeah.
And then it was like combative. And it was like, ooh.
yeah. I know. I've dated this. I feel 5 foot fun.
That was so stupid.
What? Why? You've never gone,
No.
I hate that. Cookie. All right, I'll stop.
All right.
All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you guys for joining us tonight.
What do you think, audience? Did you like this? Oh, they did. Oh, is that too loud for you, Darcy?
That was so loud in my ear.
All right. Cool. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. All right. We love y'all. Thank y'all for joining us this week. This has been Caleb.
I almost accidentally said love you guys. like ending a phone call like, all right, love you, bye.
I do love you guys. Maybe Darcy doesn't, but I do. Okay. I'm glad you're
I
here.
love most of them.
I'm glad you listen. Same. The 99.9% of you. I love y'all. Guys, thanks for joining us this week. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I know we're going to talk about it. See you next time, guys.
See you guys.